You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 523 for Sunday, the 20th of October, 2024.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum, Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Jane.
Hello there, Michelle. And how are we doing this very quiet, mundane sort of week in October? Nothing much happening, is there?
Do you know, there's been nothing going on this week. It's been so quiet. It's like Disney have gone into a social media sort of zombie state.
Yeah, I thought they'd hibernated, in fact. You know, it's getting to that time of year. Maybe they're snuggling down for the winter and just going to keep their heads low. Sorry.
Sarcasm is the lowest form of wit, but my oh my, this week us Disney fans have needed to rely on it. Oh my word. But we will come back to that. Let's have some jolly news to start with.
Oh yeah, come on, brighten my day.
Okay, so they are starting on the dino removal project so that they can bring in Tropical America's themed land, Pueblo Esperanza.
Well said.
I know, I practiced. 12th of January 2025 will be the final day of operation for Triceratops Spin, Fossil Fun and Games, and Chester and Hester's Dinosaur Treasures. Are we going to be crying tears over that?
I don't think so, to be fair. I mean, I think it was a little bit surprised because there was lots of hints that they would be closing before Christmas, I think, originally. I mean, whether obviously not Hurricane What's It the other week may have had knock-on effects on this. But yeah, I mean, I was more gutted when, I can't remember the name of it now, so that shows you how gutted I really was. The Primeval World.
I loved that.
You know, I thought that was cool. So I was more gutted about that going than I am about these things, you know. But having said that, they are quite a nice little kiddie area, isn't it? So, you know, the little ones. So how's that going to go down?
But let's be honest, it's a generic spinner with a couple of dinosaurs. I think Disney are making a mistake getting rid of anything to do with dinosaurs because having a 3-year-old grandson, oh my word, everything is dinosaur. Everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like he's watched any films with dinosaurs in yet. We've not even brain fried him on anything dinosaur-y yet. But the minute he starts cracking into those dino programs, he's going to go even more berserk. So it's kind of a shame for those children that particularly enjoy this genre. I loved the idea of the boneyard because it's a great place for kids to run around in a nice, safe environment with some theming. And as you say, it kept them off Flight of Passage.
Well, yeah, and, you know, kids at that age, you know, if you're talking like, say, you're under 10s, they sometimes need to have a little bit of explore time and just blow off some steam, don't they? So having these little play areas in parks, personally, I think was a nice touch. It would be lovely themed in there as well, you know. I mean, so you were getting the best of both worlds. And I agree with you, Michelle. I mean, my daughter Molly absolutely was head over with dinosaurs, which for a girl is maybe not, you know, the usual. And even nowadays, when she has her own little YouTube channel and she refers to everybody being the Dino Squad. So it just goes to show what an impact dinosaurs can have on people. And it's kind of sad that you're losing that bit. But obviously IP takes priority at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it is a big money draw to have the Esperanza property in Animal Kingdom. So, so...
I suppose the next thing is when will Dinosaur be departing, isn't it?
Well, I imagine it's going to be pretty much soon afterwards.
You'd think.
But that wasn't the only news. We also found out that 6th of January, Epiphany, Big Thunder will be closing, and it says it will open with a little bit of new magic in 2026, but I imagine the majority of it's being closed down because of the work that they need to do in that vicinity.
Yeah, I must say it's a year it's closing. I don't think it was that long, if my memory serves me right, since its last refurb either. So unless they're changing something drastically, like maybe putting new track in or something, I think the implication that everybody's reading from this is there's obviously prep work that's got to get done in respect of draining rivers of America and removing Tom Sawyer's Island. So, because I would imagine that to put that Cars land, or whatever we're going to be calling it, in situ, there's going to be a lot of prep work, and you've got to remember what the water table is like in Florida, and getting the land stable enough for whatever they need to be doing. So I'm with you, Michelle. I think that's potentially why it's down for such a long time. But we could be wrong.
We could. I have some news about Candlelight Processional.
Oh, they announced some people, didn't they?
Jane, normally when I look at the list, it's like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? They've brought out the big guns this year.
I must admit, you know what? When I saw the list the other day, Michelle, for those names that I could remember, I thought, this makes a change. There's more that I know than I don't.
Yeah. Kicking it off, Josh Gad. You can't get bigger than Olaf.
Well, he's not that big, is he, really?
No.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
We've got Whoopi Goldberg. We've got Ralph Macchio. Now, I imagine he was at Joni Loves Chachi.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Gary Sinise and Neil Patrick Harris. If you are there in a 3-day window, you can have a double icon bill, basically.
Amazing.
Wow. Gloria Estefan. Yeah. Fantastic lineup. I'm quite impressed with that. And I think, Jane, all talk of you going away next February, March, rubbish. You want to be there for Gary Sinise and Neil Patrick Harris. And if your husband doesn't take you, I seriously think there's something going wrong in the world.
Well, it's a little bit short notice, I have to say, Michelle. If they'd have announced them a bit sooner, perhaps we would have got our act together. But I have to say, I do remember, because obviously you went last year, didn't you? And I remember having conversations with you where it was kind of proving difficult to pick a day where there was somebody that you were actually interested in seeing.
Yeah.
So it seems to have done a full 360 from last year.
Well, last year, it was the only person I'd really heard of in the time span I was there was Gloria Estefan. And we sat in the pouring rain, and I mean pouring rain. It was bouncing it down to the point that my underwear was wet. It was that bad was the rain. Literally, and that was wearing rainproofs as well. I had to stop taking pictures because my phone melted down and had to go and have a nice little rice bath afterwards to dry it out a bit. So, yeah, but it was an amazing thing to see. You do have to bear in mind, if you don't want to be standing and waiting in those long lines for these big name people, that you may wish to choose to go down the route of paying for a dining package. That gives you the ability of having a reserved seat. The prices for those packages are not going to be released until the 29th of October. So no doubt in a couple of weeks' time we will be going through and deciding on whether it works out financially viable to pay for that, or whether you do what I did, wait in line.
Yeah, hang about a bit.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed that you don't get wet pants like Michelle did.
Absolutely. I and then they're talking about some of the offerings, and wow, oh wow, Father Christmas is going to be available to be met at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Ooh.
So this is very excited. He is going to be at the 75th Annual Dino Institute holiday party on the patio at Rostrontosaurus.
Ah, maybe that's why they're not closing that area until we've had Santa.
Ta-da! And I think that's great. I saw him last year. I met the world's most amazing Santa at Epcot. He was absolutely fantastic and blew all my preconceptions out of the window, and it was magical. And all those who say, oh no, Disney adults, oh, it's not for you to go and meet Santa, shut up.
Oh, for goodness sake. Lose yourselves, people, lose yourself.
It's for everybody who's young at heart. And I'm really getting a little bit fed up now of some of these media channels that are having a backlash at Disney adults, saying they're spoiling the magic for children, they're shoving children out of the way, and this, that and the other. I don't think any Disney adult I know would do any of those kinds of behaviour. Yeah. So I think it's very wrong to label us all with the same badge. Match.
And at the end of the day, going back to the ethos of Walt, he wanted these parks to be there for everybody, for the young and the young at heart.
And those with a big wallet.
Well, that would appear to be the case nowadays, yes. But it is that element of going to these parks, isn't it, and immersing yourselves. This bubble, it is a bubble when you're there, and it's a bit of downtime. It's a bit of chance to, kick off the work blues and disconnect from reality for a little bit.
Yeah.
Which we all need now and then.
Oh gosh, yeah. The Merry Menagerie is going to be back at Animal Kingdom.
Oh, lovely.
Absolutely cutest thing in the wide world. Really, really cute. They're going to be offering a whole host of Instagrammable food options. The foodie guide isn't out as quite yet. And there's going to be a seasonal Tree of Life awakening. Now, we didn't go and see that last year. I would have loved to have seen the Tree of Life awakening when we were there in the summer, but the park was closing at 6 and 7 o'clock and it was still broad daylight. So I do get a little bit antsy that you pay all this money for an Animal Kingdom park ticket and it's not even open 12 hours.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I appreciate, obviously, animal husbandry and welfare has to factor into it to a degree.
Yeah, but if you can do it, Jane, at different times of the year.
Oh, yeah, do it when suits. Yeah, I'm with you, Michelle. It's an excuse that works some of the time, isn't it?
Yeah. Over at Hollywood Studios, their festivities kick off on the 12th of November. And I will say, I know a lot of people say Magic Kingdom is amazing, it's beautiful. For me, I loved going to Hollywood Studios, seeing Gertie with the bauble in her mouth, the Christmas tree in the background with all the palm trees. It's reflecting in the pond, in the water, and you've got all of these floating baubles there. It was so beautiful. Hollywood Studios, just bring back some more lights down to around the Muppet area and just really bling up the park, please. But anyway, they're going to have some juggling elves. They're going to have a holiday spirit band. There's going to be so much going on over there, according to their website, and saying that there is going to be magical snowfall over at the Hollywood Tower Hotel area. And I will say the festive projections last year were phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely adored them. And of course, this year it's the second year of Jollywood Nights.
Yes.
So, bigger and better. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, they do seem to be, in some of their announcements, revamping things a little bit, making things a little bit more zhuzhy, shall we say. Let's hope they took on some of those criticisms that were levelled at them, which I think we saw them responding to, didn't we, last year after those first initial parties. So fingers crossed they've got it a bit more on the nose this year.
Yeah. Now, for me, we're recording this towards the end of October. I don't feel like it's Halloween. And the reason probably being is I've been celebrating Halloween since the middle of August. So it just feels never ending, having gone to the Halloween party on something like the 19th of August, which is 2 months ago. It feels like Halloween period for me has just dragged and is never ending. And I can't wait to get Halloween done with so I can start celebrating Christmas. Because really, when you look at it, if we're not starting to celebrate Christmas till the beginning of November, it's going to be a much shorter period than actually celebrating Halloween was for me.
Well, yeah, that's the weird thing, isn't it? I think I mentioned the other week, we'd gone into a store over here and Ethan had commented, Christmas stuff already, and I went, well, as been, Halloween stuff's been out since the middle of August. It's not really surprising that Christmas stuff is out now. And this goes back to what we've always said, that Halloween celebrating it, what was it, the 9th of August this year? I know it gives more chance for people to, attend the not so scary parties, etc. But I'd rather they left it later. If we're scaling back on like things like food and wine and stuff, I think that Halloween needs to be a little bit shorter.
And also, Jane, this year they have been massively impacted with the number of cancellation of parties or guests being able to get refunds because of the really bad weather they had through the end of August going into September. Like, I'm in a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween group on Facebook, and literally there's people sharing pictures, and they've been getting refund after refund after refund because of the really poor weather, and I'm not just meaning little drizzle, I'm meaning torrential downpours. The weather through August and early September this year was unprecedented, and I've never seen it since I've been going to Disney to have that many issues on these Halloween parties.
Well, I suppose it's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because, unfortunately, we can't control the weather. That's just how it is. And some years are worse than others, and it goes in cycles, I think. But of course, by starting the parties even earlier, you're running the risk of more getting cancelled. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword for them, really, isn't it?
True.
Are you better off starting later and maybe doing more back to back? I don't know.
Tricky, because then your day guests want to get into the Magic Kingdom and see the fireworks and enjoy the evenings there as well. So
it's a fine balancing act, isn't it? And I'm sure what's right for one set of people is going to be completely wrong for another set of people. So they are kind of caught between a rock and a hard place with it sometimes.
And I suppose I do have the unique perspective now, having done Christmas and Halloween.
Yeah.
I would be 100% supportive of Halloween party. For me, I think the Christmas one.
Yeah. Well, again, like we just said, what works for some doesn't work for others and vice versa, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So,
Can I just say, I've just been watching some little YouTubes of late. Never guess what they've got at the outlet.
Oh, go on. Now what?
At the Disney outlet, they've only gone and got the Snow White Kate Spade collection.
No.
Yeah.
The ones that I sent you photos of when I was on the Disney Dream.
Yeah. And the really big tote bag?
Yes. Yeah.
$174, half price. They have a lovely crossbody as well. And I'm like, why aren't I in Florida? But the heart doesn't need it. I just keep having to remind myself, the heart doesn't need it. Stop buying merch, Michelle. You don't need it. Did I sound convincing there?
I was just about to say, if you keep saying it often enough, you might just have a slither of a chance of convincing yourself.
We'll see. Okay, guys, we've had a pretty light-hearted start to the show. Let's get on to the meat of the bones of what's been going on this week. So it started on the 9th, and Disneyland announced all I can say, it's the world's most complicated pricing structure I've ever seen for anywhere. Because you don't just have one ticket price. You have 6 tiers. In fact, it's tier 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's actually 7 tier differences. It's phenomenal. Your cheapest ticket for a one-day, one-park ticket on a low-demand day is $104. Rising to $206 on the highest demand day. Now, if you were looking at a one-day park hopper, that goes from $169 to $281.
Wow.
Depending on the park day. And those are just flat tickets. You've got your tax to go on top of that.
I remember seeing something, and it seems to me like it's the hopper bit that seems to have jumped up in price, isn't it?
Yeah. If you start looking at the multi-day tickets, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, it starts adding up quite significantly. You're looking at some of them having a 6.5% increase. So now, if you're wanting to get a 5-day, 1 park per day ticket, it's $511 with a $31 price increase. It's a lot of money. And then on top of that, you have other upcharges if you want to get their version of Lightning Lane. That is a standard $32. It was previously $30, and this can vary throughout depending on the date. It makes the fact that me having a one-day park hopper Disneyland any day of the year ticket now actually be worth quite a considerable amount of money. So I need to obviously try and think about how I am going to use said ticket.
That's a very fair point, Michelle. I think these price increases, we know we hit October, and because it's the beginning of their new fiscal year, this is when Disney in general tend to hit us with these price increases. But I think these particular ones this year took everybody a little bit by surprise.
Yes. And then there was this week with the introduction of a Lightning Lane premiere, meaning the best of the best pass.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with Walt Disney World?
Oh, I can do, Michelle. I think it's kind of almost the same, isn't it, in some respects, but
there are slight differences on when you can buy it, etc., isn't there?
Yeah. And I think something to mention is they have used the word pilot. I think this is being phased in, and they are, I think, from some of the language they've used, kind of testing it to see what actually happens. But I remember seeing, crikey, maybe 4, 5, maybe even 6 weeks ago, there was a leaked image of Premier Pass, and I was watching a YouTube. A couple of people were speculating this was what was going to come, and I said at the time, I said, "Oh no, I think, I was kind of a bit dismissive, so I kind of, wrapped myself over the knuckles. I should have paid more attention." So this apparently is a convenient way to save time in line. This will allow guests a one-time entry to each Lightning Lane experience in a theme park to enjoy at their leisure that day.
Now, you don't have to book anything like you do with the Lightning Lane, do you? You can just go to the Lightning Lane queue, twinkle your phone as you would do, and then you go down the Lightning Lane queue line, correct?
Correct. It says products and services are fulfilled in the My Disney Experience app. App is intended for use in the US only and is only available in English. Beginning October the 30th, Disney say, we will begin piloting the rollout of Lightning Lane Premier Pass with very limited quantities for guests staying at Disney Deluxe Resorts, Disney Deluxe Villa Resorts, and other select hotels, which basically, if you have a look at the list, is just the deluxe, because I think they include the Swan and Dolphin, don't they?
Yes, they do.
In that. So, how it works, this is what Disney World on their website tell you. You get one-time entry to each available Lightning Lane experience in a park for one day, including the most in-demand attractions. Ride the attractions you want, when you want. You don't need to choose specific arrival times. Enjoy photo perks, including digital downloads of select attraction photos and videos, plus unlock Disney Photo Pass lenses. Woohoo!
So, Jane.
Yes.
Can I just say, with regards to this, it has no hopping in Walt Disney World, meaning if you buy it for Animal Kingdom, that's where you're using it. If you buy it for Magic Kingdom, that's where you're using it. And that probably will factor into the price swing, which is a phenomenal price swing.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, you click on, I've just done this myself, click on the frequently asked questions. How much do Lightning Lane Premier Passes cost? Answer. Prices for Lightning Lane Premier Passes vary by date and theme park. That's not really helpful, is it, at all, Disney? People do actually kind of want to know what sort of range that we're talking in. And I think I've seen as low as something like 129 up to about 400, something like that, if my memory serves me right.
Up to $449 plus tax.
Yeah.
Because that's got to be... But you've got to be staying at a deluxe to buy it. If you're staying at Pop, you're staying at Port Orleans, sorry, not happening. Now,
whether this, just to play devil's advocate, Michelle, is this just because we're in that pilot rollout stage? Are they just limiting it to get the system up and running and to see how these things fare?
And if there's a demand for it. Because let's be honest, it's going to be the people staying in the deluxe who, are spending an extortionate amount of money to stay on Disney property. So the theory would go, and it doesn't always work like this. I know that many families save for years and years and years to have the Polynesian experience. But in general, if you are staying at one of those hotels, you do normally have the deeper pockets.
Yes. And that's probably why they're targeting it that way in the beginning, just to see what the actual uptake is going to be. And I suppose, part of me thinks, well, yeah, but those people that, if they can afford it, are likely to pay for it anyway. That's not a thermometer, a barometer test on the rest of us, is it?
True.
So it's a bit of a difficult one. I mean, there's so many questions, Michelle, so many questions. Are they going to limit the amount of these that they give out per day as we move forward, assuming that they extend this, say, to all hotel guests, or all, say they extend to all theme park guests? They must have to put a limit in, which I know there's going to be some comparisons to Universal, because Universal already do this type of thing at their parks.
Yeah, but they give it away for free at the deluxe hotels.
They do. They give it for free at the deluxe hotels. Everybody else has to buy it, and I know that they limit it so that those people that do buy it have that super duper experience. You walk in, it's like a VIP. You go up, you walk on, blomp, and you're done. They don't have any multi fast pass, whatever you want to call them, as well as. So in my mind, you've now got Premier Pass, you've still got multi Lightning Lane, and you've still got single Lightning Lane. So you've got standby. So you've got 4 things that you've got to manage. Does this mean if you've paid out for Premier Pass, are they creating a new entry into these rides just for you?
No.
Are they going to push you past the existing Lightning Lane queue?
No.
If that means that you're joining the existing Lightning Lane queue, which we know sometimes can be as long as standby. So how are you going to feel if you spent, let's just pick, say, $300? It's an average sort of day. You spent $300 in the Magic Kingdom, and the ride that you've chosen, the Lightning Lane is all the way out, almost to the standby line. How are you going to feel?
But let's just remember, Jane, with the Lightning Lane queues, they will let 99 people from the Lightning Lane queue first and 1 from the standby. So that Lightning Lane queue is going to go down a lot quicker than that standby one. And that is why when I was there in August, I saw the fluctuation with the queue, because there's more people piling to the Lightning Lane. Your wait in the standby line is going up and up and up, and it can quite drastically change. Like, I was in one queue and it went up nearly 40 minutes because of the number of people going in the Lightning Lane on Little Mermaid.
Which then says to me that they're not managing the existing system very well.
Well, standard theme park plebs, Jane, let's just get it clear. Your standard theme park plebs are just queuing in the lines, and they just have to shut up and put up with it. Whereas the other people who are paying the money, they need to get on that ride quick.
You see, it's interesting, isn't it? See, my personal view is, if they're going to do this, if they're going to bring in this Premier Pass, and you've got to pay hundreds of dollars per person, per park at Disney World. We know it's slightly different at Disneyland, but per park at Disney World. Why don't they then scrap the other Lightning Lanes and just have a standby, like Universal do, like they do in Disneyland Paris? Disneyland Paris have standby queue, and then they have their version of a Premier Pass. A lot cheaper. It's still expensive, but it's cheaper than these. That would make more sense to me, because then you're curtailing the amount of people that are going to be in that Premier Pass line, that Lightning Lane, whatever they want to call it. Still hate the name Lightning Lane. Fast Pass works so much better. I don't know. It just feels, and I think, crikey, Michelle, like you say, we've probably both watched various different YouTube vlogs at this point in time, and there's probably lots more to come. We're having a chat about it now. There'll be other podcasts talking about it. And I'm sure we've all seen comments on Facebook, Instagram, etc. And I don't know about you, Michelle, but the vibe I'm getting from the vast majority of people, and whilst there are some there, we'll turn around and say, well, if you've got the money, it's your choice, you do whatever. But I think the vast majority of people have turned around and gone, it's too expensive, they're gouging me for more money. It's losing the magic. And I think I follow a couple of guys on YouTube that look at the financials. So they're not Disney fans. They purely look at the financials. And what's interesting at the moment is the likes of Forbes and some of the more mainstream media that are interested in stock price are now commenting on the state of Disney parks. Because at the end of the day, Disney parks bolster the movie and the TV side of things. If it wasn't for the parks and it wasn't for the cruise line, Disney would not be in a very healthy situation at all. The money they make from theme parks and cruises helps them to do everything else that they would like to do.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting now that the normal media, so not as Disney fans, not as YouTubers or those sorts of channels of information, are now coming out and going, stock price isn't so great, is it?
Yeah.
Lots of stories about how much it costs to go to Disney World as compared to going to Universal, and you're talking, $1,200-$1,400 more for a family of four to do Disney as opposed to doing Universal, and that's just for tickets and food. Disney, I think it's about time you kind of woke up and smell the roses and perhaps have a good hard look at yourself and genuinely ask, are you doing the right thing for your legions of fans? And are you doing the right thing for families who want to come and have that magical once in a lifetime vacation? And it's getting harder to say yes, I think, nowadays. Yeah. That's my personal opinion.
So that's Walt Disney World. So hopping...
Yeah, sorry, I went off on one there. Do apologise. I do apologise.
Jane went on a tangent. Let's hop to Disneyland, because Disneyland has got some very different parts to it. The first element is your Lightning Lane Premier Pass is for both DCA and Disneyland Resort. Their system can be booked 2 days in advance, whereas Walt Disney World is booked day of at 7 a.m. Disneyland's version starts on the 23rd of October, whereas Walt Disney World is on the 30th. And the price in Disneyland is $300 to $400 per person per day, plus tax. So there is a big, big difference with regards to the price. And it is quite interesting for me when I was listening to what you were saying, Jane, and I've listened to what some of our listeners have already said and posted on our family page, is that this is happening at Disneyland Paris already. And when they released it at Disneyland Paris, they initially only had 200 passes per day.
Yeah.
Then it went to 500. Now, I don't know what the figure is.
No,
they tried it out in Paris, and I think it was €185. And the number of people that have actually said, well, it worked really, really well for us because we were able to get on everything we wanted in Disneyland in 1 day. Thus, they only needed a 1-day ticket for that park. And I suppose when you're thinking about that, if you are on a limited trip, this is one way to do it. However, I want to put a little cat amongst the pigeons now. Let's imagine we've got the money, Jane.
Oh, go on then.
Yeah. Okay, we've got the money. Would you be dropping this kind of wedge to buy you and your husband and your, say, 2 children, possibly costing you what at Walt Disney World, let's say $350 per person, so that's $1,400. Would you just think, actually, why don't I pay for a VIP plaid tour, which might cost me in the region of $450 to $900 per hour, but I can go to 4 different theme parks and get Lightning Lane and a few snacks and possibly get everything I want to do in Walt Disney World done with 10 people, because you can have it up to 10 people.
Yeah.
That's seeming more and more attractive, because I can then get all my Disney done in 1 day, and then the other days I'm going to be riding on the rides that don't have any attraction queues, and I've split the cost of the tour with 9 other people.
Well, yeah, and this is the other thing to bear in mind as well. This is only giving you access to those rides that they have currently designated as Lightning Lane rides. There are rides that do not have Lightning Lane. So at least with the VIP, the plaid tour, if you want to go on a non-Lightning Lane ride, you can still do that, and you can get to the front of the queue and you go in back doors and goodness knows what else. And you're treated like a VIP because that's what you're paying for. And it does make that look an awful lot more appealing because you've got your own little private transport that'll get you, oh, I fancy going to Animal Kingdom now. Oh, let's pop over there, shall we? Back rows, get there twice as quick as you would do normally. Where do you want to go? Do you want me to go and get you a coffee? Of course I will, no problem. You know what I mean? That all of a sudden, you can give more value to what that money. Yes, it's going to be stupidly expensive, but like you say, if you've got enough of you together, then that price is going to come down. And at least you do, you are getting some cachet to it. The fact that you're walking around the park, with this person who's got all this information to share with you. Everybody knows you're on a VIP tour because the person that's guiding you's got the plaid on. Totally different to paying out $300 to $400 per day per person to get on, X number of attractions in Magic Kingdom where you might still have to be in a queue with the plebs that you thought you were paying to get away from. Yeah, I feel very cynical at the moment, Michelle.
Yeah. So guys, over to you. The baton is with you. Flood us with your opinion. Let us know, what are you going to do different? I've already heard from quite a few people saying, I'm glad I'm doing Universal when I go to Orlando next year. I'm cutting down my Disney time. Or maybe I won't do Disney next year. I'm going to go somewhere else. Or I love Disney that much. I'm just going to pay it because I've got to have my fix. Please, please, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Disney Dream Girls podcast family page on Facebook or at Diz Dream Girls over there on Instagram. I also would like to end the show with our humblest of thank yous to our wonderful supporters over on Patreon. I hope you enjoyed October's bonus podcast. We're going to have another one coming up for you real soon. If you want to supporting us financially, patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls, and you will get instant access to past beautiful content as well. Anyway, we're going to put a pin on this discussion. No doubt we will come back to it as more information starts flooding in. But until next time, it's a goodbye from me.
And bye from me.